What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we're going to talk about the Rebirth team. The Rebirth team is about to be released, and I think it's time to talk about the priorities in terms of red stars for this team. What kind of goals should you set yourself up in terms of progress on these characters, and should you raise them right away? We're going to answer all these questions in this video, and as always, if you find information helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure you smash that like button. Okay, so in terms of the Rebirth team, this is going to be mostly a raid team that is going to replace the Web Warriors, and in terms of consistency, they are supposed to be way more consistent than the Web Warriors. Not only more consistent, but in terms of power, they should be more like 30%, 40% more valuable than the Web Warriors are right now. And the same thing that Web Warriors had as a problem, which was that they are only reliable, they only have value in raids. This is going to be pretty much the same situation with the Rebirth team, but we're going to take a look and make an overall view of these characters, and I'm going to tell you how many red stars you should aim for each of them, and things that you should take into consideration when approaching each of the characters on this team. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about the new characters first, and then we'll talk about the older characters, because big surprise, the old characters are actually better than the new characters. So I'm going to try to explain exactly why, but first we are going to talk about Agent Venom. Okay, so let's take a look at the kit of Agent Venom, and the character is very interesting in raids. Outside of raids, I'm not sure if he's very interesting. So with the basic attack, he's going to chain for different targets, and he's going to apply defense down. In raids, he's going to chain to more attacks and apply more defense downs. Okay, nice. That's very nice. But if he crits, he's going to apply blitz. That's a good thing. Okay, now the special ability, it has a low cooldown, which is decent, but it's single target damage. Yikes, that's trash. That's literally trash. We have Nemesis with the same amount of cooldown that attacks multiple targets. So you can see the value of this ability is not that great. So he's going to attack multiple times for piercing damage. It's going to repeat the attack, and if it has more Rebirth characters, you are going to do more piercing damage. In raids, flip a positive effect into negative effects with each attack. So you have to be very careful with when you use this ability, because if you are not attacking the right target, then this ability will be an absolute trash, because you just have the amount of damage, and that's not going to be interesting enough. Once again, we have this situation in raids, and that's not a good thing. Moving on, let's take a look at the ultimate, and this ultimate, oh my god, it's so good that it's so bad. So attack all enemies for piercing damage plus 25% additional damage for each positive effect and negative effect on the enemy. So once again, you want to really stack up the negative effects on the enemies, and then you also want to flip them, the positive effects, if you can, if the enemies don't have safeguard. In raids, once again, if this character has 3 or more Rebirth allies, on crit, repeat this attack. So that means you want this character as a raider, and yeah, the damage output in raids is going to be massive. Outside of raids, yikes, I have questions about this. Okay, finally, we have the passive. In raids, oh my god, in raids, this character has 3 or more Rebirth allies. On this character or Rebirth ally block, attack the most injured enemy for 100%. So this is going to be like Nakia, this is going to be like Echo, Ghost Spider, all of these characters that do these retaliation attacks. If your characters are blocking, you are also going to be damaging with this character, with Agent Venom. Gain a 5% crit per Rebirth ally, so you kind of want to have as many Rebirth characters as possible, even that there is some possibility of using other characters that are not Rebirth. Gain a 30% damage, Rebirth allies gain 30% damage, and this works outside of raids. In raids, gain a 30% additional damage for self and Rebirth allies. So the damage of this team in raids is going to be beyond massive. That's why, like, they're completely going to overshadow the Web Warriors, because like even these characters maybe at gear tier 14, they are going to do much better than the Web Warriors at gear tier 15, maybe gear tier 16. Okay, so as you guys can see, like, this is going to be the character that does a lot of damage. So this is the character that you want to aim at the big red stars. So if you have some elite 5s, elite 6s, you want to open them for this character, because he's going to be the machine of the team, keep the team more working and defeating the enemies. And this retaliation attack is going to be pretty decent, because in terms of stats, Agent Venom, he has pretty decent stats. So we have right here the 77%, 77,000 damage, and he's going to get 30% additional damage. So that means he's going to be even stronger than Nakia in raids. So this is going to be a super powerhouse of damage, and that's why you should save all your big red star orbs for this character, for Agent Venom. Okay, so moving on, let's take a look at the next character, and the next character, it's going to be Agent Carter. And Agent Carter is, oh my god, I don't understand this character. The character is very interesting, but at the same time is very confusing, because she gives buffs to herself, but she doesn't give stunts to herself. So what's the point? Like, I'm a little bit confused about this character, but let's take a look at her kit and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so Captain Carter, when she does, let's take a look at the maximum abilities. We'll talk about the T4s in a different situation, in different video. Basic attack, attacks multiple enemies, applies regeneration to the most injured ally. If it's Rebirth, apply 2 regenerations for 2 turns. So she's gonna be the healer of the team, and that's great. Okay, so special, 4 energy comes full, gain deflects, gain counters, gains death proofs. Rebirth allies will also gain that in raids. So it really compromises the value of Agent Carter or Captain Carter outside of raids, and she's gonna heal herself and all Rebirth allies for a nice amount of health, and she's also going to revive them. Great, we have a character that can revive, and at least the revive works outside of raids, at least that, so maybe she will have some value in Alliance Wars defense. Attack the primary target for damage, but it doesn't really matter. Her damage doesn't really matter, and especially because it's single target. You really want her for the revive and also to apply the positive effects for herself, I guess, because the deflects will activate Agent Venom or something. I don't know, like, I don't understand this character. If she had taunt, yeah, sure, okay, makes sense, but because she doesn't have taunt, it doesn't make sense in my opinion. Okay, so now the ultimate does damage to all enemies, and it's not piercing damage, clears negative effects from self and 2 negative effects from all allies. So this works on different teams, and this is why you can make hybrid teams for Alliance Wars defense and maybe Cosmic Crucible. Heal self and Rebirth allies for 20% max health, so once again keeping that team alive. And in raids, oh my god, in raids, if this character has 3 or more Rebirth allies, apply Safeguard to self and all Rebirth allies. Do we really need Safeguard in raids? Yes, we need. The reason why we need this Safeguard is to stop the Moon Dragon on node number 2, and also to stop Scarlet Spider from using his ultimate on node number 1. So this is going to be extremely important, and it's something that you need to keep in mind, because you don't want to use this ability if you're not facing Scarlet Spider, Moon Dragon, and also the other Moon Dragon on the boss node. There are 2 Moon Dragons in different nodes. Finally, we have the passive. On turn, apply regeneration to self and all Rebirth allies, and 50% of gaining a shield now from a random Rebirth ally. Okay, so she's gonna call everyone else out to assist to do damage to the enemies. Ability block, chance, armor, max health, and so on. So that's gonna make the Rebirth team very tanky. And once again, in Alliance Wars, very tanky, very, very tanky. Now, in terms of red stars, should you go balls deep on Captain Carter and completely max her out? Not really. My goals for Captain Carter is gonna be 4 red stars, and that's it. I don't need more than 4 red stars. And in the near future or in the far future, we'll upgrade her to 5 red stars or something like that. It's not important at all. So she is definitely a character that you can use your basic red star orbs or your elite 4s and not worry about too much the red stars for her, because it's not a game-breaking character, and it's not a character that needs like a lot of focus or survivability, so she's gonna be fine. Okay, moving on, let's talk about our next character, which is going to be US Agent. And oh my god, this character, bro, like, no, I don't know what to think about this character. So this is a character that is coming up next, and supposedly is going to be the next month event. Supposedly, those are the rumors. And I honestly don't like this character, because once again, in raids this, in raids that, in raids whatever, like, shut the fuck up with your in raids. It makes, like, this in raid situation, it makes this character so bad. It's just unbelievable. Okay, so basic attack does damage to one target. Yikes, 1 damage for 1 target gains deflects. So once again, these deflects are going to trigger the passive of Agent Venom. But none of these characters have taunt. The only character with taunt is Captain America. Moving on. Let's take a look at abilities maxed out. So with this special, it has a low cooldown, which is great, and it's going to attack the primary target and apply ability block, chain to another target and apply ability block. And the speed of US Agent, so the speed of US Agent is pretty decent, and that means depending on the team, this guy can be spreading ability blocks like crazy. But look at this ability, like, it has this, and then in raids it does all these other things. Bonus attack non-summoned enemies with the highest speed bar and apply ability block for 2 turns. So not only you're applying 2 ability blocks to different characters, you can also apply ability block to additional characters in raids. It's just so many ability blocks everywhere with this guy, it's crazy. And because you are applying ability blocks to multiple targets, that means that once again this character on defense might be quite significant, because you don't have to rely on like a super specific AI, because once again we are applying ability block to multiple characters, so that's pretty decent. Then we have the ultimate, and oh my god, so once again single target damage, ultimate, low cooldowns, piercing damage, okay, cool. In raids, apply stun to the primary target. Why? I need the stun outside of raids. Man, this is so lame. In raids, once again, in raids, oh my god, if this character has 3 or more Rebirth allies, apply slow for 2 turns to all enemies. So this is very, very powerful. Enemies killed by this ability cannot be revived. Okay, so you can see, and this also works outside of raids. So this guy is somewhat interesting. You kind of want him to have a 4 or a 5. You don't have to try to get a 5. Just use your Elite Force, just use your basics, and try to get a 4 or a 5, because he gets that extra focus. And you have the situation that if you kill someone with this ability, they are not going to revive. But that's like... it's not good enough. The ability block, it's nice, it's okay, but it's not good enough. It's kind of lame, because yeah, they really compromise this character outside of raids. With the passive, on turn clear 1 positive effect from all enemies. We have different characters doing way better than this. We have Abomination, and you also have Spider-Man 2099, that instead of clearing, they flip, which is a lot better. But this guy only clears, and once again, that's not great. In raids, if this character has 3 or more Rebirth allies, on self or Rebirth ally block, fill the speed bar of that character by 5%. So this is massive. This is going to make the team super fast. So not only we have Agent Venom applying damage to the enemies with retaliation whenever someone blocks, we also have this guy giving us speed bar. So this team is going to be super crazy in raids. Gain a 25% block chance, gain 30% focus. So you can see that he gives focus to himself, and that means that you don't need red stars to give him focus, but it's something that we have to keep in mind. In raids, gain 30% additional focus for self and Rebirth allies. So you can see that, man, this character could be so good outside of raids, but unfortunately he's so limited in raids. So oh man, it's just so lame. I really don't like this type of situations. In raids this, in raids that, in raids everything. Really compromises the character. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the old characters. Now it's the time for the cool part. Oh my god. Captain America now is an absolute beast. So on any team, by the way, it's not on a Rebirth team, it's on any team. and I'm glad that I invested on this guy in the past, because now, yeah, 100% absolute beast. Really like his kit, and I don't even have to go to msf.gg to take a look at this kit. So why he has so much value? On his basic, he is applying defense up to himself, and he's applying offense down to the enemies for 2 turns. That's massive. We are reducing the damage of the enemies by 2 turns by 50%. That's an absolute beast, and it also changes attacks to multiple targets. Then the special ability, very low cooldown, and it does tons and tons of energy for multiple characters that can be Avengers or not, or Rebirth or not, it doesn't matter. This guy now works on Dark Dimension, it works on PvP, it works everywhere. He also clears negative effects from himself, Rebirth allies, and he also applies defense up for 2 turns to all allies. And immunity for 2 turns. What the hell is this? This guy is an absolute beast. In raids, he also does additional energy for the Rebirth characters. The basic attack, now the ultimate, sorry, the ultimate attack now, the cooldown is lower than it was in the past. I think in the past it was 4, now it's 3. And you can remove 3 positive effects from the enemy. So once again, we have additional value for PvP situations. And he fills the speed bar of himself. So you can use this ability early on, and then give himself defense up and immunity, and to the entire team. It's not only to himself, it's for the entire team. So it's amazing that this guy is like an absolute tank, but he's also a controller, and he's also a supporter. He does so many things, he's just crazy. And then look at this passive. Oh my god, like unbelievable. So he has synergies with the Wave 1 Avengers. He has additional bonuses for Alliance Wars, whether it is on defense or offense. I think he will get more value on defense, because the AI with him is going to play very, very well, because they have all these abilities that will attack multiple characters. And on spawn, apply deflects to all characters. All characters. It doesn't have to be only Rebirth. So huge value here with Captain America. Whether you are playing him with Young Avengers or Bionic Avengers or with Marauders or anything, this guy is going to be amazing. It's really such a good character that is actually unbelievable how powerful he is right now. Okay, so yeah, Captain America right now is one of the best characters in the game, and the viability that he has in all game modes is undeniable. Unlike the other Rebirth characters, unfortunately, the 3 new Rebirth characters, they are only useful in raids. This guy is useful everywhere. I used him in Dark Dimension 4, and what he was able to provide to everyone else, it was just amazing. It's definitely one of my top picks for Dark Dimension 5 right now. Okay, so let's move on to the last character we are going to talk about today, which is Winter Soldier. And the Winter Soldier it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. This guy right now, because of his stats got reworked and some of his abilities got reworked as well, is an absolute beast on pretty much anywhere where you can use Zemo and Red Skull. The burst damage that he has with his special ability, and particularly the special ability, but also with the ultimate, the burst damage is so high that he can one-shot one character with a special and one-shot another character with the ultimate. So I have not found a way to use him right now, but because my Baron Zemo and my Red Skull they are not still on point, especially Red Skull. But I'm very sure that some creative people will start using Winter Soldier, especially if we have some good red stars on him, because he is an absolute beast. The fact that he can one-shot extremely fast 1 or 2 characters is just unbelievable. Now, in terms of the red stars for the old characters, should you take Captain America like to 6 or 7 or whatever? I don't think it's necessary. I think on his own he's doing fine. And Winter Soldier, like, he's going to be an absolute beast at 6 or 7, but you shouldn't force yourself to get him to that point. You should just allow it to come naturally, because he's not a character that deserves any kind of gold promotion credits. And once again, I remind you that in terms of elite red stars for these guys, you can go all the way to Agent Venom, get a 5, 6 or a 7. That's going to be the best point for this guy. And for Captain Carter and US Agent, a 4 is going to be fine. Even a 3, even if you get a 3 on them, don't worry about it, because it doesn't matter. The characters that are going to tank is Captain America. These other two guys, they don't tank, even that they have shields, so keep that in mind. Them having like high red stars, it's not that important. What's going to be important is Captain America, Agent Venom, and that's pretty much it. Those are going to be the main characters of the Rebirth team. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this preparation for the Rebirth team. It's going to be arriving very, very soon, and I'm definitely sure that it will be a way more interesting team than the Web Warriors were, because the dodge mechanics are just frustrating, and the block chance is completely different. Not only because the chance of blocking is higher, but also because it also works with deflects, and this team has deflects everywhere, which is massive. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. Let me know in the comments below if you are excited for the Rebirth team, if you are going to replace them right away with the Web Warriors, or if you're going to take my suggestion and build like one character every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, and slowly build them up, and then eventually replace the Web Warriors with them. But it's definitely a team that you don't have to rush. If you found the information helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.